you to this beautiful edition of the program. And of course, I'm not here alone.
Well, I am Segun Dinola Adeyemi. We welcome you to U45 Morning Show.
Good morning and welcome to the U45 Morning Show. Thank God it's Friday. I am Osage Somongo.
Yes, you know how it is on Friday. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering the attire we are all on today. When you talk about party, it starts right here in Lagos. That is what Lagos State is known for. And so Friday is always a time for us to put on, of course, traditional attire. So you know that, yes, the Owambe has already started from Friday. Or what do you make out of it, Tiago?
Of course. Lagos is the city of enjoyment.
That's what we represent.
So, this is when you live in Rome.
It's like a Roman, yes.
So, as you're in Lagos, you have to behave like Lagosians. So be dressed and get ready.
Yeah, Solomon. So we're driving them like a Lagosian this morning.
Exactly. We're all set for the weekend. It's going to be fun. So where are you heading to after the work today?
Well, don't let us let the cat out of the bag yet.
All right. All right, viewers. So today on the program, yes, it is the end of the week for us on the U45 Morning Show. And like I told you, during the week, yes, an Abuja High Court gave a ruling, and that ruling is that the budget that is being passed by the governor of Rivers State, Governor of Fubara West, was declared null and void. And of course, there were lots of court ruling judgments delivered yesterday, while a particular court also sentenced not sentenced, while it also reprimanded those loyal to Governor Fubara on the basis that they were behind the explosion of the assembly. And another court also upheld the election of Governor Fubara. So today on the program, we have a legal practitioner who will help us to look at this ruling or what it entails, and we'll also take you to one of the People's Democratic Party PDP leader who would also give us his view about all that is happening in Rivers politics. And then again, we are also looking at LGBTQ. Yes, we realize that a lot of some Nigerians are tilting towards embracing LGBTQ, and we have to know that in Nigeria this seems to be odd. I mean, not just like it seems to, it is against our culture for you to begin to think of being a lesbian, gays, and what have you. And on top of that, there hasn't been a law that goes to give them all the rights that they are calling for. We know that this is with the Western world, but in Nigeria we frowned at it. So this is what we will be looking at and on our discussion segment on U45 Morning Show today. And of course, we'll also bring to you our trends and hashtags that just a moment you're always looking forward to, which will be driven by Segun Odeyemi. Yes, so we will also bring to you quickly a newspaper review. That's a newspaper review segment talking about the hints in our daily. So right about now, without much ado, let's quickly go into the newspaper review segment. Solomon.
All right, we're starting with the Nigerian Tribune this morning. The main headline says, review your policies to reduce hardship. NLC tells Tinubu. That story is on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. The writer says listening to World Bank and IMF has never helped the country. And another writer says wants federal government to expedite process to negotiating with new minimum wage. And then another writer says government to discuss with Labour in March. That's according to Information Minister. Still on the Nigerian Tribune, another story says Nigeria spent 14.8 trillion naira on security in 9 years. That's according to PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. The writer says list 7 trends that will shape Nigeria's economy in 2024. Stories on page 6. of the Nigerian Tribune. Permanent solution to insecurity is here. That's according to northern leaders. That story is on page 28. I really hope that we truly have a permanent solution to the insecurity that has bedeviled our nation. There's another story that says that Ijaw Youth Council threatens to shut down Shell operation. And the writer says, as Clark alleges pilot plot to colonize Ijaw and others. That story is on page 4. Southwest PDP now fully united. Makinde, other parties leaders say. The writer says, Oyo Osun governors jointly attend party zonal meeting for the first time at Jishafe, now Southwest chairman. The story is on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. Lagos moves investment in airline operations. Sanwo-Olu renders stewardship in town hall meeting. Page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. Atiku raises 5 questions over NNPCL's $3.3 billion emergency loan. Says FG may repay 12 billion naira dollars. That story is on page 2. And finally, on the Nigerian Tribune, Plateau killings. Police arrest 17 and reps speaker to meet Tinubu. And the writer says, don't take laws into your hands. Government warns. That story is on page 26 of the Nigerian Tribune.
Moving on
to the Punch newspaper. The front burner headline says Tinubunomics. Federal government differs as NLC says reforms killing Nigerians. And then the writer says, listening to IMF, World Bank has never helped Nigeria. NLC president tells Tinubu. Another writer says, president determined to make life better for citizens, says information minister. At the top of the newspaper, you will see another headline says, Tinubu approves 50 billion naira security vote for 5 northern states. For more of that story, you find it on page 13. And then on page 21, you see where it's written, Naira drops at parallel market, closes 900 per dollar official window. Close to that, Nigeria, Morocco fast-track talks on $30 billion, beg your pardon, gas pipeline. And then away from that, federal government releases funds for second Niger bridge, Lagos-Ibadan bypasses. And then Mr. Ibu's son, daughter arrested for alleged theft of 55 million naira donations. For more of that story, you find it on page 4 and page 5. And finally, U.S. court fines Nigerian blogger $50,000 for defaming MFM overseer. For more of that story, you find it on page 12. Alright, and that will be it for the Punch newspaper.
All right, moving on to another paper. This time around, we are looking at the Sun newspaper. The major headline on the Sun newspaper says, Mango killings. Defense headquarters fumes, and the writer says invites calm leadership, others over allegations against personnel. For more details on that story, you check page 6 of the Sun newspaper. Another headline atop the Punch newspaper, a front page headline says, Ohaneze slams security agencies over extortion on southeast roads. Details on page 28 of the Sun newspaper. Another one says, I hold the Sun awards in high esteem. I think this is one of the awardees speaking here, and that is Gombe Governor speaking there. If you want to know what he's saying, then you have to get the Sun newspaper. The story is precisely on page 6 of that paper. This one says Tinubu owes us explanation on NNPCL $3.3 billion emergency loan. Who's saying this? It is the People's Democratic Party, PDP presidential candidate in 2023 election. And this story you will find on page 26 of the Sun. I beg your pardon, 28 of the Sun newspaper. Lagos considers setting up airline, set to begin construction of airport. For details, check page 2 of the Sun newspaper. Planned relocation of MDAs, Northern Senators clash. This story you find on page 4 of the Sun newspaper. And following that directly, this headline says Enugu AFDB partner on investment. Others, for details of that story, check page 25 of the Sun newspaper. And now moving on, talking about insecurity here. FCT kidnapping, military deploy special forces to come Abuja forest for terrorists and bandits. And the writer says police rescue 14 victims, kill abductor, injure scores. I think this is a beautiful one. It's a good news, and you'll find these on page 4 and page 26 of the Sun newspaper. And finally, on the Sun newspaper, still talking insecurity, state police remains panacea. Who's talking? It is Katsina governor saying this, and that story is also on page 28 of the Sun newspaper. And that finally wraps it up on a newspaper review segment. We want to enjoin you to get one or two of these papers so that you can be well informed. So right about now, we will quickly take a short break for us to go into a discussion segment. Like, you know how time flies, we really need to talk about this. So we'll take a short break, and when we return, our guest will be here with us to help us look at the judgment delivered about Rivers politics and many others. Of course, I also told you about the LGBTQ, growth in the world, basically. So we'll be right back. Some school of thoughts believe the major challenges confronting Nigeria as a nation is caused by poor leadership. How true is this? You and I can actually put government into tools to deliver the dividends of democracy. Join us every Saturday by 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Let us look at the issues confronting us as a nation. Together we talk heads. Nigeria can be great again. I'm Adenike Oweye Ajiboye. Keep it date.
What up, guys? How's your day going? How are you doing this? I want to believe that you're having fun, right? This bright and sunny day. You know that once you see this duo on your TV screen, we're here to serve you some entertainment.
And of course, entertainment.
Well, it's so glad to have you back, and you're still watching U45 Morning Show. Yesterday's our discussion segment, and this time around we are discussing Rivers politics. Yes, during the week, a court sitting in Abuja nullified the passage of the 2024 budget as passed by the Governor Siminalayi Fubara, and the court also gave different rulings, and part of it is that Fubara should not frustrate the assembly. We are now being joined by a legal practitioner to help us look at the topic of discussion. Join me to welcome Destiny Tankon, a legal practitioner. Many thanks for coming to U45 Morning Show.
Thank you, Nikki, and good morning, viewers. I'm glad to be here again.
You see what I said about Friday in Lagos? We are always, displaying our own cultural attire.
Right.
And you just compliment our own dressing. It's beautiful. All right, viewers, quickly, let me let you into that. We discussed it during the week. And this is it. The Federal High Court in Abuja voided and set aside the presentation and passage of Rivers State's 2024 budget by 4 member legislators in the state. The court, in a judgment delivered by Justice James Omotosho, ordered the governor of the state, Siminalayi Fubara, to represent the budget to the legally constituted House of Assembly under the Speaker, Martin Amaewhule. It is interesting that Omotosho also quashed withholding of the House of Assembly fund on the ground that he has no constitutional power. That's the governor has no constitutional power to do so. The court restrained the Governor Fubara from frustrating the House of Assembly under Amaewhule, our Speaker, from sitting or interfering in the affairs of the House. The redeployment of the clerk and deputy clerk done by the governor has also been declared null and void. The Inspector General of Police was also ordered to immediately give adequate security to the Speaker, Amaewhule, and the legislators, the 27 legislators loyal to former Governor Nyesom Wike. Justice Omotosho ordered the clerk and the deputy clerk to resume office immediately and unhindered. The National Assembly is also barred from taking over the Rivers State House of Assembly or accepting or treating any request from Governor Fubara. Legal practitioner, I hope you are listening to this ruling. The court also ordered Governor Fubara to release all monies standing in credit of the House of Assembly to Martin Amaewhule. I would expect my producer to show us the court sitting, because we are that, and to also let us also hear what the counsel said immediately the judgment was delivered. I really don't know if that is ready now, but of course I'm sure we'll bring it to you in the course of this interview. And now, talking to you, legal practitioner, how do you see this ruling? Basically, can you tell us the implication of this very ruling?
Okay, well, a ruling of court is a ruling of court, and it's meant to be obeyed, literally, unless and until set aside. And so we have a ruling of court, and you cannot set aside a ruling unless you apply to set it aside for good reason, acceptable judicial reasons, or higher or superior court does so. So my view, when I listening to all that is reported, about the ruling, I see so much of what has been happening in Rivers State. Of course, we know it's an outplay of political fisticuffs between Fubara and Nyesom Wike. And to that end, of course, we're also aware of the attempts by some forces at the presidential level to bring down the level of ridicule, and all of the travesties that have been happening or going on there. So And even this ruling, in a way, goes in some manner, maybe, just maybe, to accord with those attempts. But the part that I find intriguing, where the House National Assembly is barred from taking over, interfering, I don't know if how inappropriate it is for a court, to give such a restriction, because for good reasons. The National Assembly is empowered constitutionally, to take over the assembly of any state for good reasons, right? So if the reasons didn't appear at the time of the ruling, a blanket bar would suggest that you're saying at no other time, or at no time at all, can you do that? That's how it sounds to me. Unless if the reportage, is different from what actually the court reasoned and put down, so, but if it is what I just heard, then of course I'm wondering how that could be. Habit, we have a ruling, like I said, and indeed you have the State Assembly operating with just about four members who purportedly pass that appropriation bill of the state into law. And what the others have done is, amongst several other grounds, challenge it, which is the proper thing. And indeed, democracy, under the law, playing out, it's what to do. And the only thing I think that can be done by Governor Fubara and his own, those who are in cahoot with him, is of course to go upstairs if they're not pleased with the ruling of the court. It is a ruling of court,
okay.
And it is a competent court, or a court of competent jurisdiction.
Okay, let me ask you
of the matter.
Barrister, let me ask you. This ruling is from Abuja, a court sitting in Abuja. Is it possible for Fubara can they still appeal this?
Exactly.
Okay, let me hold you on. Our guest, also another guest joins us virtually now. Sonny Ekanem. Good morning, Sonny Ekanem.
Good morning, Nika. How are you?
I'm great. Good to see you. Let me start by commending your attire. Yes, you're looking rivers, so to say. All right, we are talking Rivers politics at the moment. I have just read the ruling of the court that restricts Governor Fubara, that also declared null and void the passage of the 2024 budget, which was done by just 4 members of the assembly. First, you are a leader of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, of course, representing South in the PDP. How would you react to this very ruling by an Abuja court?
Barrister Destiny. Hello, Barrister Destiny. Good morning. Let me give my reaction. My reaction is very simple. It's all about politics. Are you hearing me? Hello?
I can hear you right on.
Okay. It's about politics. Fubara did not have the experience of Wike. He was tricked into this arrangement. Yes, there was nothing wrong in the 4 members passing that budget. There was nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong politically. The fact remains that those 25 members defected to another party. Defected, and the speaker that took over the place declared their seat vacant. Of course, it's politics. He declared the seat vacant because there are settled judgment on that in other states. The judgment did not affect the governors, but affected members of the State Assembly and National Assembly. The court asked them to vacate the place, and the man took it to the 4 and approved it. And they approved it. There was problem of, I don't want to fight my boss, I don't want to fight this one, let's go into agreement. It went into agreement. And then allowed those people to take over. The other gave the other man secretary to the government, and then the lion that was waiting for him was waiting to capture him. And then simple, they went to court, and the court said, "Look, those 4 people cannot pass that budget." Of course, they don't. In actual thing in the law, they don't exist anymore. The speaker is no more there. So what happened is this: they cornered him to his game, and then in the face of the law, the budget has been. There's nothing wrong in that judgment, except he appealed that judgment. Except he appealed it, there's nothing wrong in that judgment. The judgment is sound. There's nothing on ground. The speaker is no more there. So the speaker has gone
based
to the
on your
court report.
interpretation of that ruling,
You can see what you said accords with what I said. I mean, I'm a lawyer, and the things that expected of me to say, you know, I mean, this is TV, we have a public audience, right? And I know what to do. My personal views about the judgment may not be what I can express on TV, right? Being a lawyer, I should know better. But like I've said, I said one thing, I said it's a ruling of court. It stands. What I thought, you know, was not or shouldn't be if it's actually what the court said. I also mentioned about that the National Assembly should not, is bad from interfering or taking over, you know. And I said that couldn't possibly be appropriate in the sense that that is a constitutional power of the National Assembly in an appropriate situation, you know. So, but and I've also said that it's all the political play, you know, between Wike and Fubara. But between him and I said clearly that the only thing they can do is, you know, pleased is to go upstairs. And if I were in the team where I was asked, I have the things I can point out, that I can say, let's look at this, let's question this, let's question that. Like Engineer Kahneman said, you know, of course, you want to look at what happened before you were left with 4
members, like he has.
All of those things are things to consider.
Okay,
you know, wanting to go upstairs.
Okay.
You know, you want to present all of that up and say the higher court should look at the appropriateness, the propriety of that ruling against, you know, the background of what had happened before. We had only 4 persons, you know, 4 representatives, 4 legislators who passed that budget.
All right, in trying to manage our time, let me quickly ask you. This is a tussle. There's been a tussle between the FCT minister, who is Wike, and the immediate past governor of that very state. Right. And he was the accountant general during his tenure. And now Wike being the FCT minister, are there possibilities that the court is being compelled to give this kind of judgment, looking at it from the angle that is an Abuja High Court and Wike is the minister of the FCT?
Yeah, I see clearly also that there were attempts, and we are aware of powers in the presidency to try to reduce the interplay at Rivers State, and that I also say that I see this ruling as an offshoot of that attempt and the resolutions that were reached, you know, and you know, so it was in a way trying to put to paper and pen and putting a seal of authority over it. In a way, that's what I think, and that's why I've said those who are not satisfied with it have an option, because there's certain things that I would personally say, if I was in that team, would have to look at and say, if Fubara and those who are in cahoots with him or who support his government, you know, are not satisfied, they want to say, you know, why should this be? Why should the court have said this and that? And the only way you can overturn that is to go on appeal against that ruling, you know, and there's no other way as it stands. So that whether it was a political compromise that was midwifed by whatever powers at whatever corner, you know, the only place, you know, to go and question it and ask for it to be revisited, overturned, is at the higher court.
Okay, now let me turn to Engineer Ekanen. Let me say that, of course, just yesterday there was another ruling, and that is a federal high court sitting in Abuja remanded some loyalists of the River State governor for their alleged involvement in the explosion that rocked and razed the River State Assembly complex. I'm trying to read it to you so you get the details. The complex of the River State Assembly, you all remember, exploded precisely in October, beg your pardon, October 30, 2023, of course, amid alleged moves by some lawmakers to impeach Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Now, the remanded loyalists of the governor were said to be behind that very explosion. No fewer than 5 of them were arraigned on Thursday before Justice Bolaji Olajuwon of the Federal High Court in Abuja, and they are Chime Eguma Ezabalike, Prince Lukman Oladele, Kenneth Goodluck, Masa Osiga, Donald, and Ocheja, thank God. In the 7 charges, the defendants were accused of committing alleged terrorism offenses by invading, vandalizing, and burning down River State House of Assembly during the wake of the political crisis that rocked that very state in October. They were also accused of killing the superintendent of police, Bako Agbashim, and 5 police informants in the Ahoda community of the state. That's number 1. Then again, okay, let me first get your reaction on that, Engineer Ekanem.
Well, they said they were alleged supporters of the governor. How did they know? Was there confessional statement? Anything can happen. It's just a way of trying to rope the governor into all these things. They might just be people who have sympathy for the governor. You didn't send them. But I don't have a clear picture of that. I read it yesterday. Alleged supporters of the governor. How did they know they were the one that burnt it? The case is in the courts. And those people, I don't think they are proven guilty. They have not said we are guilty. Let's wait and see how the case will go on. It's part of the political development in River State. It's part of the political development. They just want to give the governor a bad name so that they can impeach the governor. And I blame the PDP for all this. The PDP National have not acted. What is position of the case? They said they have taken them to court. Is the court delaying the case? That those people are defected to another party, they defecate the seat. Morally, they should. Legally, they should. If they have any conscience, they should vacate the seat. You have moved to another party. So what is the national doing? What's the position of that case? So it's all politics they are playing up and down, using the judiciary to play their politics. It's all dirty politics they are playing. I don't know, they might just be people they park on the road and say, well, admit to this offense.
Do you think about the situation? Because they seem to be on the discussion table. They're having a roundtable discussion on how to ensure that peace reigns, of course, between those who have first cross-carpeted to the All Progressives Congress APC, and now I'm trying to come back. How do you see this? And at the end of it, we are now seeing a court ruling saying that, trying to render Governor Fubara, permit me to use the word, useless.
Well, he put himself in that position, like I said. The people of Rivers, they voted for him. The elders stood by him, but he went to make agreement. When you go to make agreement with opposition party, what do you expect? All they want him is want him out. What they are going to do is to force him to join the APC. That's the game plan. They want to frustrate him and make him join the APC. That's the game plan. All this thing is just, what right are those people? They have defected to another party. So I blame the PDP National. What are they doing? Are they playing with it? What is the case? The case was that they shouldn't have allowed those people to take to seats. That was the former case. The guy withdrew the case. What about this? What are these people doing in the National Secretariat? Some of them are Wike proxies. Some of them are working for Wike. They are Wike is they are working for Wike, so they cannot take any decision. They want to run the party aground. So I blame the national. It's all politics that is playing out. But when
in blaming the national leaders of your party, you just said the game plan is to force Governor Fubara to cross carpet to the All Progressives Congress APC. Now, let me tell you, there's another judgment yesterday, and the ruling is by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has dismissed the appeal of the All Progressives Congress APC and its candidate in the March 18, 2023 Rivers State election, Toye Cole, against the election of Siminalayi Fubara as the state governor for lacking in merit. Affirming Fubara as the duly elected governor of Rivers State, the court held that the appellant did not prove the allegations of non-compliance with the Electoral Act, among others. Now, the court held that the appeal was incompetent and dismissed it. Cole also cited alleged irregularities, non-compliance with the Electoral Act, corrupt practices, among others. Now that the Supreme Court has, affirmed the election of Governor Fubara, is it possible for them to still use a political undertone to ensure that Fubara moves to the All Progressives Congress?
What is playing out is pure politics. Pure politics. Fubara won the election in Rivers State. I'm not talking about presidential election, but Fubara, the people of Rivers State is a PDP state. People of Rivers State voted for the governor. So they know that if by any chance is defect to APC, he defect, I quote you, he will only run one time. He will not go second term. Rivers will not vote for him. So what they are trying to do is to untwist him, frustrate him. Because what the assembly is going to do is not to approve his budget, frustrate his budget. That's what they are going to do. It's a lie mine that they are laying for him, and he will fall into it politically. He shouldn't have accepted that agreement in the first place. He shouldn't have accepted it. What kind of agreement is that? The president has to, insecurity is there, ravaging the country. The president did not attend to that. Inflation is there. People are suffering. So Rivers State is more important. You just want to take the oil state. That's all. Politics is all politics is playing. We will see the answer. Just give them some time. Instead, the PDP come in and accelerate their own. The
president and Wike just want to take over Rivers State because of the presence of oil.
Behind the scene, all this thing is just the voice of Jacob, the hands of Esau. All this thing is just behind the scene. The ultimate is to take over the Rivers State. And the PDP should accelerate their case. The case that they said this should vacate their seats. The judiciary too should accelerate that case. There should be judgment of the court that those people have vacated the seats. They have defected, they should vacate the seat. So if this is not accelerated at the courts, at the judiciary, and at the end of the day, a judgment comes, those people's seats. And the next thing is they can say, well, they want to impeach the governor. And the governor will be forced to go to APC. There will be more crisis if that happens in Rivers State. But I can tell you that. Because I can't survive the will of the people. So the president has so much to do. His hand is full with the hardship people are going through. He should leave Rivers State alone. Leave Rivers State alone. That's it. You are looking for an oil state. Akwa Ibom is not in their hand.
Legal practitioner, what do you see, or what's the interpretation of this law? The highest court of the land, Supreme Court, has affirmed the election of Fubara.
It's a good thing. What that simply means is that Mr. Toye Cole's petition has failed, and he remains the governor of Rivers State. But that doesn't mean that he cannot be impeached. Impeachment is a completely different procedure. That judgment relates to the election petition filed to challenge his declaration and eventual swearing in as the governor of Rivers State. Now that has come to a head with finality for what the Supreme Court is, that he remains, he's been certified, authenticated, and affirmed by the Supreme Court as the governor of Rivers State. But as I said earlier, so that it's not mistaken that the procedure for impeachment is a different thing. It's about bringing up allegations of gross misconduct, under the law and that the Constitution prescribes against him. And then once that process starts, with the coming back of the other assembly members who defected, that's very possible. Except if as we're thinking, we're Nigerians, and so if we just sit here and say we're presenting just the legal side and not, then we might be deceiving ourselves truly.
Really?
Because of course all of these are politically interplay. That's what I said. All right?
Just like he said.
I said that from the very beginning I spoke, all right? And we know that in Rivers State, all of what is happening is just because Wike wants to remain the father figure in Rivers State. That's what it is. We've seen that back here in Lagos State.
Governor by proxy.
By proxy, one governor after the other, and a determination that you're not going for second term because I said so, I brought you in. We've seen that. We're Nigerians. There's nothing to hide about this.
Okay, what's your advice to wrap up the discussion on Rivers politics? What would be your advice to Fubara on this very case?
Go to the higher court. It is safer for you to go upstairs and challenge this ruling, except if you've decided to waive or you've acquiesced to or acceded to the agreements that you made at whether at Abuja or wherever you sat with the presidential aides or wherever those were. But we are aware that there were those things, those talks that happened. Now, because like Engineer Kalim said, he called it landmine. I see booby traps everywhere for him. The only way for you to be safe in a situation like this is to go strictly legal. If the legal system fails you, then well, I didn't have any other thing to hold on to. But going by certain agreements, that are midwifed and put in place contracted by politicians, it may not be very safe for him, irrespective of the fact that Rivers State was and probably still is a PDP state, because we have seen the will of the people not matching when the powers that be decide to take charge of the institutions, the electoral democratic institutions, and do whatever they will. So my advice is go upstairs if you're truly not satisfied with this ruling.
All right. Before we wrap up on this, I remember you are a legal practitioner, and I'm sure you're privy to the fact that Wike has a stronghold when you talk about legal practitioners in Nigeria. I remember that he had a large sum of money that he used to support. Either he even built them a secretariat in Port Harcourt. I can remember. So, and I would want you to attest to that if that is the case. Now, if this is the case, I think his wife is also a lawyer. He himself is a lawyer. Do you think the Fubara, who is, the way we see it, this is also godfatherism coming out to play here. He single-handedly brought him in to be a governor. Of course, most likely expecting him to work on his own terms and condition. And I'm sure it's because this has been, the Fubara is going the other way. That is why they're having loggerheads. Do you think, with all the powers that Wike has and his connection with legal practitioners and his background, do you think Fubara can win this case against Wike, the FCT minister?
Well, it might be literally like you and I know. It is not in the law courts. It is not Fubara against Wike. Out here in public discourse and in the court of public opinion, we all know it is Fubara and Wike. In court, it is Fubara against the State Assembly and any other thing that is done that amounts to an illegal injury that he would seek redress against, whoever the masquerade might be, behind it. So I do not think that, I don't know what relationship you're talking about, or that maybe because I'm a legal practitioner, I can afford to commit an offense.
But we are aware of the interference in...
I heard you very well. What interference? That you bailed or contributed several governors and past, people have done that. The NBA is a body. If as a lawyer, I become whatever, in government, and I decide to say, look, apart from my annual fees, or I want to make a donation, or put up a complex for the NBA in my state or the national, it's nothing. It does not in any way affect or sway
You think so?
lawyers. We think
You
differently.
think so?
You're amazed.
Well, that's an individual perception.
You're amazed. Even with that, let him attend an NBA meeting and come and talk, boasting and talking about that belt. He would be told straight in his face and that means nothing. Lawyers don't really think that way. If it's going to have any influence, it's if the judicial, officers would allow themselves to be influenced by the Rivers State money in his hands, which, you know what I mean when I say that. Then that's a different thing. But as to lawyers, you will have lawyers from Rivers State. If they don't even want to get lawyers from other states,
okay,
those who are doing this matters could not be lawyers within Rivers State.
Okay.
So if I am in the NBA in Rivers State, and you are also, and we are lawyers, and we're on different sides of the case, so how would that play out? That because he helped build a secretariat, and you now tell me or tell the court he built a secretariat for us, so let's, it would be so funny, really.
All right, I'll take that. I'll take it the way you said it. But viewers, let's just keep our fingers crossed and see how this tussle will end. And I just hope that this will not disturb governance in Rivers State. And that wraps it up on that discussion. Now, there is a major challenge facing us in Nigeria. I'm sure we still have Engineer Ekanem to help us also to give his views about this. And now this time around we are looking at LGBTQ in Africa. In Nigeria, we have seen girls now, embracing this LGBTQ. But of course, the laws of Nigeria is against this. They do not have rights as far as Nigeria is concerned. I want to first start. Let's look at our culture. The culture of African culture does not even permit it, does not even embrace it. So how be it that at this point in time, a lot of youths are now gradually tilting towards embracing LGBTQ. When you say it, it seems not to even bother them, because we even went to do a vox pop on the street, and some girls even said it confidently that what does it matter? Allow people to express themselves, allow them to live their life. A particular girl even said, after all, men are not even proposing marriage to them, so why would they live their lives the way they want? Engineer Ekanem, as a Nigerian, what do you think about this lesbian, transgender, and gays, and what have you?
I'm totally against it. Totally against it. We should go and learn from the animal. Have you seen a female animal running after a female animal? From the animal kingdom, whether fowl, whether lion, elephant, I've ever seen it. So those who are saying these things are very, very sick. Very, very sick. It's an African. It's not acceptable to us here. If they have to arrest them, send them to psychiatric hospital, let them be evaluated. You don't see animal running after a female animal, running after a female animal, a male animal running after a male animal, or chicken running. It's very, very abnormal. Very, very abnormal. It has nothing to do with freedom of expression. It's satanic.
I'll take that, your last submission, that LGBTQ is satanic. But I would want you to expatiate further. How do we say that indeed Nigeria has not passed their rights, into law? When we say the likes of Bobrisky, a male child who has suddenly turned himself to a female, he dresses like a female. Right now, he now has a breast. And this lady, or this man lady, so to say, has continued to parade herself everywhere, and the Nigerian government has not arrested her. What do you make out of this?
Looking for legitimacy. The government is looking for legitimacy. This government. You understand me? You inflict pains on your people, and somebody is coming from overseas to tell you you have taken bold decision. So they cannot say anything against what those people stand for. What those people stand for, they cannot go against them. If I was a president, a man like Boriski, forget about it. I would have taken him and somewhere to be evaluated, test his brain, whether his brain is correct. He's sick.
We had what was that the professional we brought yesterday talking about mental illness, and we asked him about this, and he said, well, he wasn't too, his submission wasn't very clear, but he said that he wouldn't say that they have a mental disorder, but like you are saying now, you say you will take them to for a checkup. Can you expatiate more on this?
Yes, the issue is this. They are not thinking normal. When a man starts appealing to a man, you see a man, you are attracted to the man, then something is wrong with your brain somewhere. Something is wrong. It shouldn't be so. You see a woman and first see a woman. A man, you see a woman. And when a man starts thinking the other way around, something somewhere is worrying him. So we need to use them as a research to check what went wrong, because it's not normal. Like I told you, you can't see a male animal of the same kind running after themselves. So you understand me? So I think the psychiatrists have to do more evaluation of these people. Maybe scientifically look at them. Why a man want to turn himself to a woman to a man? I don't know. But I think in Africa, it is abnormal. It's not acceptable here.
Hello, Engineer Kane. All right, quick one. Nigerians are saying that there's some type of foreign influence when it comes to LGBTQ in Nigeria, probably because of the Western influence that they have over our nation. So do you agree also with this submission that the Western influence or colonization is the reason why we see some of this LGBTQ being rampant today like it was in the 80s and in the 90s?
Education. The West are going to the moon. Their life living standard is okay. Then we are suffering here. We want to take the negative aspect. We want to take the good aspect of those who live in this advanced country, who are still human beings. They are attracted to female, the female to male. We should take those people. We should project in how we are going to. What value will this add to us? This lesbian talk, what value will they add to us economically? I think I'm really against it. I'm against it. Not because I'm a Christian, but I think it is upset everything in me. Everything in me. I don't support it. It is evil as far as I'm concerned.
Section 214 is against the order of nature with a penalty of 14 years imprisonment. It applies to sexual intercourse between men, and Section 215 criminalizes attempts to commit the offenses prohibited under Section 2114. Can you give us what the laws says about this LGBTQ? Can you tell us more?
Well, Nikki, you just read a part of the law out there just now. It is illegal. It is an offense to be gay in Nigeria. What that means, of course, in simple terms, it means you cannot be a lesbian in Nigeria. You cannot be an homosexual. You cannot express it publicly. You cannot say it. You cannot gather. You cannot belong to any association under that penumbra or umbrella. You cannot in any way solicit, even try to recruit others in. All of this and similar acts are criminal under the Nigerian criminal code, And even before 2014, when the government of President Jonathan had this legislation in place. We had it under the Criminal Act and the Penal Code as well. It was there. But what happened in 2014, they had to enlarge it, to include all manner of conduct, including what you said Bobrisky is doing. I'm not even happy with calling him a how. I mean, this is, yes, call him for what he is as far as you and I are concerned. Bobrisky is a man,
I think we should even say his picture at the moment, and I will let you know.
It is inappropriate, even for us to speak. Children are hearing us. We should tell so that they know that those who stand for what is right, do not recognize or see him as a woman, so he cannot be called a her. Bobrisky is not a her, he's a man. What he's doing is criminal, as far as I'm concerned. They are overt acts. His actions amount to overt acts against the penal system, in Nigeria, and he should be arrested and put to trial. See what they're doing, apart from what General Economist said, is indeed. He said it's satanic. Yes, it is. It is against the order of nature. It is against the order of God. Nigeria is a nation under God. That's what the preamble of our constitution says. A nation under God. So being a nation under God, we are people who conform with what God has ordained. God never ordained in Nigeria or in any part of the world, or the entire universe, that same-sex relationship between humans or between animals or between plants. God never ordained it. If God, whatever God ordained is known to be God's, ordination, and it is against the order of nature. I used to say literally, I said, back growing up from secondary school in the dormitories, back in your house, your own brother, same parents, were to sleep consciously and put his leg over you. You're most likely going to throw his leg away.
Exactly.
But it's different where I'm just saying expressing humanity. That's what I'm saying. I should not be misquoted or misunderstood. If a young lady, a girl of the same age, even as those growing up, were to lie with you mistakenly otherwise on the bed and her leg was over you, as a man, the natural instincts and hormones in you will not want that leg removed. We don't want the girl's leg removed from your own leg.
The girl,
that's the point I'm making. Because it is in the order of nature. It is the way God has made it that a woman's body should appeal to a man's body. And vice versa. A man's body should appeal to a woman's body. So when you have two females, I was watching a program where two ladies.
Barrister, I would like to hold you on that thought. I hope you permit me to do that. Right about now, we need to quickly let you see the vox pop that was done on the street by one of our presenters, Mr. Peace, and you'll be amazed to hear what this young minds are saying about LGBTQ. Now, let me quickly state to you that LGBTQ is an acronym for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and the last three they added is the Q, which means queer or questioning persons or the community. So let's quickly take a listen to this vox pop.
I can't support such a thing because, number one, in the Bible, God goes against it. And beside that, why is it that everything they are doing in the overseas, in the other country, we want to try and bring it in Africa here? Because in Africa, we have our own ways of doing things. Transgender is not what God loves. We don't need to follow it. We don't need to be part of it. We have to be ourselves. Don't let people be directing us. We are not zombie.
I beg you, we don't want this nonsense. You don't let Oyibo come corrupt this our Nigeria. It's abomination. Why man you go marry man?
This LGBTQ make Oyibo no force. Oyibo.
I can't support.
Being biased about it, so I don't think it's a big deal. Everybody should be allowed to do whatever they want to do, because at the end of the day, if you are, let me say, if you are gay and then you are being forced to date someone that is straight, there's like, I don't know, there's a priority that you will not enjoy what you want. So I think they should just leave them, to be honest. We are all human beings. So it's just Nigeria. In the constitution in the UK, I don't think this thing is like a big deal. Even in classroom, you will see they dress the way they want to. They do what they want to. They eat what they want to do. Some even get married without them being disturbed. So it's Nigeria basically. We are just being biased here and not educated properly, because it's not big deal. Not even only in UK, Canada, US. So there are many more people like that. So they should let them live their life.
No be something way good, because God does not encourage it, and anything God does not encourage, if you do it, then we are going to see the wrath of God. So the fact that other countries are using it does not mean that we should do it. And if other countries are not willing to assist us because they are not willing to do it, then God himself that we are willing to uphold will come down and will assist us in one way or the other.
It's not good because we've never practiced it in our society. It's not good, it's not good. Yeah, a man cannot get married to a man. There will be nothing like a progression now.
Nah, nonsense. May they no bring am for this Nigeria, because nah, rubbish.
It is not good. It is not good at all. That was just a sign of end time. The sign of end time. So I believe that our society should not even encourage it, because it is not good at all, at all. So let us just say what is bad is bad.
Yes, that is a cross-section of Nigerians expressing their views about LGBTQ. While some have said that it is it's described as rubbish, and that the Western world should not bring that to Nigeria. But one particular girl that caught my attention is the one also dressed like a tomboy, and she was saying that what is it? Just allow people, give them freedom, and let them do whatever they want to do, and let it. That is just in Nigeria. She used the word that in Nigeria we are being biased. Barrister, what do you make out of this?
What freedom? What's freedom? Freedom is not. If everybody wants freedom, rape would be a free thing. Armed robbery would be a free thing. Burglary would be a free thing. Arson will be a free thing. If people are allowed freedom to do whatever, anything, people are allowed to do anything they want. Freedom is within the context of the law. Freedom will be freedom according to law. Freedom according to even morals. Because every society has its positive morals that if you go against, you have the society up against you. Morally, gay, LGBT, whatever class they are, is as far as the Nigerian and African societies are concerned, is an immoral thing, and so freedom that she talked about is freedom to eat. That's not what we're talking about. She got it all wrong there. You have freedom to do a lot of things under the Constitution, freedom under the law. So because any freedom that is not subject to the law cannot be freedom. It's freedom that the law recognizes. And in Nigeria, having to express your sexual preference against the order of nature is illegal and is not free. It is not allowed. And the attitude, if you look at the vast attitude, the positive attitude of Nigerians, it's against it. And I'm sure until the rapture, it can never be free in Nigeria. It has been going on the ground for people whom those of us say are wrongly wired. People who are against your
orientation too.
Yes, it's been. But what we've not been doing effectively, there are cases, where people have been tried. I'm aware of cases in the north where people have been caned and punished under it. Yes, but we should be doing a lot more now, especially in the light of what is happening. When I hear a young lady talk like that one day, I'm very disturbed. To say, or maybe because she just doesn't really understand what this is all about, because if she did, she wouldn't say it. You have the liberty to go. If you don't, nobody, it's not about being compared into marriage or into a relationship, as I heard her say.
Positive.
It does not, the law is not saying let's allow people to be compared. No. If your parents should do that, or anybody, your guardian, somebody over you, no. That nobody actually would want to allow that. But it's about you having to be involved. If you have to wait for 20 years or wait until you're 40 as a lady to get married, let it be married. Your marriage should be to a man and not to a woman. That's the liberty we're talking about. You are free to stay unmarried until you find who makes you happy. You're free to, but not to get married to another woman. So the law is very clear. Freedom is under the law, and it cannot be outside.
Okay, because of time management, let me let you know that the percentage of U.S. adults who self-identify as the lesbian, gay, bisexual, or something other than heterosexual has increased to a new high of 7.1%, which is double the percentage from precisely years back. And now, this is my question to you, Barrister. A lot of people feel that this is not in our culture. And for young girls like this, they call themselves the Gen Zs, most especially. The Gen Zs, I don't know, maybe I call it a kind of poor orientation, or because of, many people believe because of the use of all of these gadgets, our phones, you have internet, so the Western world sells to us a culture that isn't African, and today many of them are practicing it secretly, while others, the likes of what's that cross-dresser too, Brown or something, Bobrisky, they've been showing it and nothing has been done. Do you think that westernization is responsible for bringing this to Africa? And what is your word to the government in tackling this?
Yeah, westernization is responsible for the apparent agitation. I think the IGP made a statement recently against those who came out, because that's clearly against the law. You know, the J terms are prescribed. People who think that they can interpolate, you know, everything that they see outside. Why not the better things? We've seen sagging, for instance, with young people. It's prevalent with young people. You know, musicians are the ones we know, especially the US musicians are the ones we saw this with. And then suddenly you find even our own musicians here and young people on the street showing off their panties and all of that on the street, taking the negative. Yeah, there's a disposition for young people to go after what is negative. If they are Gen Z, we are Gen A.
Exactly.
Right?
Let's let them know.
Let them know that this is not in our moral fabric.
Exactly.
It cannot be done. It cannot be allowed. It will not happen. So if you want to express it, we will come hard on you, and we will put you in jail. You know, we'll try you and put you in jail to serve the term that the law prescribes. So it's not about Gen Z copying whatever they see on the internet. There are a lot of terrible things on the internet. If we allow children, because the Gen Z generation, because they see things in the internet that other crimes that are sodomic, you know,
exactly.
allow, you know, yes, if we allow that here, then we become like them. Let's rather, there are good things about those sodomic, you know, that we should emulate, but not the sodomic aspect of their societies.
All right, thank you very much for your submission. Because of time, let me go quickly to Engineer Ekanem. Engineer Ekanem, this is my question to you. In trying to tackle this LGBTQ in Nigeria, a lot of people feel that parents are not doing enough. They seem to be lagging behind when it comes to their duty to their children, same as guardian to their wards. What would be your word to Nigerian parents, families, in order for us to get rid of a culture that negates African culture?
Well, I won't blame parents. You see, the peer group influence is much more than how we look at it. Parents will train these children, they go out, they mix up wrongly. I'm telling you. So yeah, we know that parents don't look after their children, they don't think of what they wear, all they need is just give them money to spend, you know. They don't look at who is this girl or boy mixing up with. They don't think about that. So I think peer group influence is much more. And most of these people are from dysfunctional homes. If you look at their background, for dysfunctional home, baby mommy or baby daddy, I don't know how they call it now. Baby mommy, baby daddy, all those kind of things. It's not normal. Both husband and wife should live together. It was such a way a woman will say, I can take care of my child. And then the child grow up to see the mother alone doing the job. So we need to look at it. There is the fault with us are with some parents and also peer group influence outside the home.
Engineer Ekanem, I have to thank you for sharing your thoughts with us on U45 Morning Show. Do have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Speaking, of course, with our PDP leader, Engineer Sonny Ekanem. Of course, he also represents the South-South in that particular party. We needed to hold him on to talk here as a parent. So there's a very topic of discussion. And of course, we have in the studio with us a legal practitioner who has also been able to do justice to the topic of discussion. Let me say many thanks to you, Barrister Destiny Takon. Thanks for coming.
My pleasure as always.
Yes, that's beautiful, because I would have to ask that would you oblige us when next we call you. All right, viewers, this is where we will draw the curtain on U45 Morning Show, our Friday edition. I hope we've been able to an extent to at least make your day start well. I'm Adenike Weye Ajiboye, thanking you for watching.
And I am Osage Solomon Wilfred. Thank you.
All right, from all of us and the production team led by Sam Eze, the likes of Tayo, the man behind the camera, Larry, let me say many thanks to you. Let's do this again next week. And it's a bye from all of us.